something a little bit new. I would like to do one herb, maybe one herb a week, where I talked a little bit about it for a while, just on a few basic herbs. And one of the things that one herb that I want to start out with will probably be ashwagandha. I think that's one of my very, very favorite herbs. Ashwagandha, or Withenia somnifera, I don't know if I said that right. It's also called winter cherry. It's the thing that we use is the roots. Now I'm going to take you out to my garden and show you some ashwagandha shortly. But let me talk a little bit about it first. I have what's called a materia medica. This is my materia medica. I made this all myself. I didn't type it out, although I have some typed material in there that I copied on certain herbs that I thought was really good. But the main page I wrote out myself, because when you write it out, you're thinking more about it. Anybody who's really serious about herbs, getting them, this is a great idea. I know it takes a lot of time. And I'm starting to homeschool now too with my granddaughter, so that's going to take a lot more of my time. But I've already got a good start. I've been working on this for a couple years, I guess. But the Medica Media is really, really good, because I'm going to leave it for my grandkids and my kids. But anyway, let's get back to the ashwagandha. We use the root. We don't use the leaves and the berries. But the berries are important because my ashwagandha plants that I have out there are from the berries. They're in these little papery things. It's kind of like tomatillos, I think. They're in the little papery things. Well, ashwagandha seeds are too. They're a little tiny red berry, though, inside little paper. I'll show you in a few minutes. I've got some that are actually dried now. The little papery thing has to dry, and then you can take the berry out and save it first. And all of my seeds came up. I just didn't have enough pots to plant them in, and I plant my root things in a pot because it's much easier to dump it out of the pot and get to the root and clean it than dig it out of the hard ground, because I don't have all of my ground amended yet. But let's talk a little bit more about the ashwagandha. You harvest it in autumn, because that's when you do your roots, because all of the during the spring and summer, the energy is in the leaves. You want it to start going back down into the roots, and that's when you're going to harvest. And there's it improves sex drive if you need that. It's a sedative in a way. It's an adaptogen. That's what I use it for. It's a great adaptogen. It activates the lymphocytes. It helps diabetes. And I have a problem with my blood sugar, runs in my family. It helps bipolar. I also order some because I haven't grown enough yet for my needs. You can order from Mountain People or other places as well. Mountain Rose, not Mountain People. I used to order from a place called Bulk Herbs, but they've closed now, which is really sad because I loved the herbs. They were so fresh. Anyway, back to some of the things that it helps you do. It helps you sleep, more of a beneficial sleep. It's a rejuvenating. It's a rejuvenating tonic. It relieves general debility. Helps balance Vata, if you know what that is. That's getting into another study. It's a memory enhancement. It helps you to remember. Now, some of the actions of the herb: it's warming, it's an adaptogen, as I said, it's a tonic, it's anti-inflammatory, which I really, really need with my gut blockage. I try to keep that so it doesn't get inflamed, because that's very, very painful and dangerous as well. It's an antioxidant, it's an antispasmodic, it's a nervine. You can take it in powder and milk before bedtime, about 5 grams probably 2 times a day in sweet milk. The taste of it is sweet yet bitter. It's not, I don't know how to describe the taste of it, but it's good. I mean, it's really good. It's so good for you, and it's not bad at all. The energy of it is kind of drying and warming, which is not good for me, but I need it for so many of the other things. So I'll take other things that will counteract the drying and warming. Drink more water, maybe use some other herbs that are not quite so drying if I'm on my ashwagandha. I try to do an herb. I do it in blocks. I don't do it every single day because I don't want my body to get used to it. They say it won't with herbs, but I don't know. I like switching things out. That's just the way it is. If you're worried about dosage, and I don't really worry that much, I just make some tea and drink it for a while, several times a day when I think about it. But you would do probably 6 grams per day of the dried root. Don't use it with alcohol or sedatives because it already is, is relaxing. If you're taking thyroid hormones, then you don't want to take ashwagandha. Now, by any means, I am not a doctor or I'm not an expert, but I have been doing herbs for a little while. I do so many different things, but I really like my herbs. I think my herbs are what's kept me alive. I would like to read a little bit, but I don't want to bore you with it. If you would like me to get into more depth on these, like I have a couple pages of really good information on ashwagandha. But yet I don't want to get you bored. You can probably do that on your own. Let me just read just a little bit because there's a lot of good information I have on it. There's a doctor called K.P. Khalsa. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. He is excellent Ayurvedic, and well, he knows all of them, the traditional Chinese medicine. He is just one educated, really a great teacher. I've taken couple of his classes, and I really like his teaching. He doesn't bore you to death. It's very interesting. He has a lot of information. He gets right down to it. He just doesn't talk about other things like some of them do and go off on 100 rabbit chases. He gets right to the point and he gives you some good information. But anyway, let me read a little bit that he wrote about ashwagandha. And this is by no means everything. This is just a little bit. Ashwagandha is one of the most promising herbs for building overall health. Science is only beginning to confirm the encouraging signs for this valuable Ayurvedic herb. A scientific article published in 2000 by Los Angeles researchers review a host of confirmed benefits: anti-inflammatory, anti-tumor, anti-stress, antioxidant, immunomodulatory, hemopoietic, and rejuvenating properties. The scientists say that it also appears to exert a positive influence on the endocrine, the cardiopulmonary, and the central nervous systems. Study after study continues to confirm the stress tolerance, performance, and endurance enhancing benefits of this herb. In fact, research shows ashwagandha to be superior to ginseng as an anti-stress remedy. 2001 rat study indicated that the herb reduced brain damage caused by stress by 80%. There's so much more I could read about this herb, and this herb works good for me. And everybody has to try herbs themselves and see which one works for them. Another herb that I use the essential oils in and that works really well for a lot of other things is oregano oil. I really like oregano oil. I'm going to take you out to my garden and we're going to look at my ashwagandha plant a little bit. I want to share that with you. So here we go. Down the stairs. Good morning, Reggie. I don't know if I'm getting you or not. That's one of my cats. It is a nice morning. It's not so hot in the mornings now. Been working on putting some stones, a stone path, because when they're irrigating it gets all water in here, and this way I can not walk in the mud. So let's go over to my ashwagandha plants. Good morning, my sunshine plants. Yes, all right. They make me think of a bunch of little suns. Okay, here's my ashwagandha plants. I've got several pots of them. Now, do you see, hope you're seeing, these little papery things? Let me look inside. Do you see the little red berry there? Okay, when these all dry up, and those are just starting to dry, but the whole plant's going to get more dry before I actually do that with it. So do the processing with it. But those little berries, let's see if I can get that little berry off from there. I think they need to stay a little longer personally, but they're good. They're full of little seeds. Let me see if I can, do you see? There's one of the little seeds popped out and some more little seeds. See all the little seeds? One berry can give you several plants. I had so many berries. I traded ashwagandha on my trading group for herbs, and yeah, see the little seeds? They work. All of my seeds came up last year. I had more plants than I could plant. But these are some of my plants. Like I say, you don't use the leaves. The only thing you use the berries for is to propagate your plant, to keep it going. Here's my unusual bell pepper plant I was sharing with you in the other video. Look at that, a real pretty purple one. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it or not. And orange, and here's the tricolored, and but anyway, back to my ashwagandha. Yeah, ashwagandha is wonderful. It's not hard to grow. It grows better for me than any other plant I have. It doesn't like wet feet, but it doesn't like to be totally dried out either. But your plants will show you their leaves will start to droop if they get too dry. I try not to. I'll stick my finger about an inch in the dirt and see how it's doing before I water, usually, to make sure it needs water. If it's wet, still pretty damp, I'll wait another day maybe. But it gets really, really hot here, so I can't take chances. It gets so hot here. And but anyway, that is your ashwagandha. It is a wonderful, wonderful plant. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know in your comments how many of you are really interested in me doing 1 day a week where I really concentrate on one herb. I would really like to do that for a short time with you. Thank you, and you all have a great day.